Hello, everyone. It's MJ. Welcome to my channel called Reading This Life. It's great to see everyone. Happy Saturday, happy weekend, happy beautiful day. Hopefully, wherever you are, today is Earth Day. It's a gorgeous day where I'm at, spring day. It's absolutely perfect. Wonderful to see people showing up for this interview. We have Jim from Jim's Books, Reading, and Stuff. We're going to do our little booktuber Q&A to get to know a little bit about his channel and his take on the community and what he's learned and what advice he can give. So let's see who's here. Crystal's here. Good morning, Crystal. How are you? Oh, Peter's here. Hello, Peter. Good to see you. Good morning. Oh, God morning. I didn't even pick it up. Christopher Evenstar is here. He says good morning. Good morning, everyone. It's wonderful to see you. So yeah, so Jim has been gracious enough to hold out all day long to talk to me. It's 9 a.m. on the East Coast in the United States where I am. It's 5 o'clock in Georgia where he's at night. So I'm having coffee. I think he's going to have tea. So we will see. Hello, Randy. How are you? It's good to see you. Welcome. So the same format is going to be in place this time. So I'm going to bring Jim over from backstage. We're going to go through our questions, and then we're going to open it up to everyone in the audience for any type of questions that you may want to ask. So I think this format has been really good. I think that there's a lot of value in it, and I hope you're all entertained. And if you are watching on the replay, we're sorry that you weren't able to make it live, but maybe next time. But we still hope that you enjoy the replay. And thank you so much for stopping by. All right. Who else do we have? Al. Good morning, Al. YouTube notifications are slow. Oh, well. That's why I try and sign on a little early. Hello, Nadim. It's great to see you. All right. I'm going to bring Jim over now. All of our tech is working. So knock on wood, everything in the internets is working well today. There's Jim.
Hello.
Hi, Jim. How are you?
I'm fine. You can see and hear me fine?
I can see and hear you perfect. And we are thousands and thousands of miles away from each other, which is crazy, isn't it?
Yes. Here we are we're the other side of Turkey over here.
There you go. Wonderful. All right. So we're just going to dive right in. It's a little past the hour. So for anyone that may not be familiar with your channel, for anyone that may be new to your channel, can you give us a little bit about a little story about your origin story? How did your channel come about?
I started the booktube part of it, 20th of September in 2020. Mm-hmm. It was during the pandemic. I wanted a creative outlet. I was feeling frustrated being inside all the time.
Yeah.
I like books. I've been following some booktubers just as a viewer, like Katie at Books and Things and Claudia at Spinster's Library. And I thought I'd give it a go and see what happens. And I called it Books, Reading and Stuff. Mm-hmm. I've got the books, but I'm more interested in the reading than the books. I don't have a lot of pretty books, but I'm interested in the contents and the stuff to allow me to look at other things as well, like life in Georgia, mm-hmm. or collecting these little cars that I collect.
Yes. Wonderful.
I have 334 booktube videos out now.
Wow.
And 879 subscriptions when I last checked.
That's wonderful. And how long has your channel been on for coming up on 3 years?
It'll be 3 years in September.
Wow, that's fantastic. So let's see. When you started your channel, what was the goal behind starting it? What was the motivation behind starting it, aside from the pandemic?
There was no overall goal, overall vision. I just wanted a creative outlet. Mm-hmm. I wanted to talk about books to other people that like books. I'd already found from viewing booktube, there's a lot of people there that like books, and there's not a lot of people in my immediate circle who like books. There is in Tbilisi, we have a book swap once a month where I can meet with other book lovers and we swap books.
Oh, that's amazing.
A lot of the expats here, they don't want lots of books because they don't want to carry them back. So if we swap books, then it's like an exchange.
Oh, that's fantastic. I love that. How many people attend the book swap?
We had about 6 last time. It's not a lot of people, but it's enough. And
absolutely. If there was 2 people that showed up, I would be over the moon. That's fantastic. All right. Okay. I will provide a link to Jim's channel. Somebody already asked, provide a link to Jim's channel. Will do.
Yeah.
All right. Hello, everyone. Just getting us into the chat. So, okay. So do you have a vision for your channel now? How do you see your channel growing in the future?
I don't have a particular vision. I'd like to hit 1,000 subscribers because I'm getting on that way.
Yeah.
Slowly. I started doing the 1-minute reviews back this last summer, and that's been quite popular. I've stopped doing the wrap-ups and I'll see what happens, where it goes. At the moment, I'm following lots of readathons and what other people are doing, what people are talking about.
Yeah. So what gave you the idea for the 1-minute book review?
I was on holiday and I was in Pasanauri, which is in Georgia. It's by a river. And we were there for 6 weeks. And the first week was great. And then it got really boring. I thought I was taking a break from booktube, but I only had my phone with me. So I didn't have all the gear I have at home. So I just thought I'd put some quick reviews up on this. And I like the format. I like just being able to give a 1-minute review. And I find with reviews, they're kind of evergreen, that people will be looking for them in the future. Like with a wrap up, people are interested in the first 1 or 2 weeks, and then nobody's interested in the wrap up anymore.
Okay. Yeah, fantastic. I honestly think that is a really original way to do a book review. And when I see them, I always watch them because they're fun.
Yeah, I like the challenge of trying to get it all into 1 minute. Some books, it doesn't work. Bleak House, I couldn't put Bleak House into 1 minute, but most of them, you can get them into 1 minute.
Wonderful. What type of obstacles or challenges did you experience when first starting out your channel?
There's a few. The technical ones. I started with a camera that was very noisy.
Okay.
Which was a problem. When it was autofocusing, if you look at my early videos, you can hear the camera autofocusing, which I don't like. So now I'm just using my tablet for filming.
Yeah.
It doesn't have that noise, but I don't know how to connect a microphone to the tablet. So sometimes it's quite quiet, the sound.
Right.
These are technical issues.
Okay.
I was also nervous of being in front of camera at first. Now it's not a problem when I start filming with my tablet, because after so many videos, I'm used to being in front of the tablet, like talking to myself almost.
Yeah, because we're just talking to all of our friends, right?
Yeah.
How about challenges that you experience now with your channel? Have you had anything pop up that you may have not thought about before or didn't realize?
My challenge now is trying to read all the books connected to the various readathons, and there's so many great booktube recommendations from everybody. It's trying to keep up with all that and just dabbling in from one readathon to another, and what's going on here, what's going on there. It's
definitely.
That's fun.
What readathons are you participating in April?
Well, there was your Agatha one.
Yeah.
I read Cards on the Table.
It's all your fault, you know.
Yes. And there's the Trans Girl April. I've got Orlando ready for that. I haven't started it yet because I think Orlando can go from Transgirl April into May of the Moderns using one book for 2 readathons.
Right. Wonderful. I have that on my bookshelves. Never read it. It's just sitting down there. One day.
And I got Cryptonomicon still from March the Mammoth, which I've barely started it. It's a 1,000-page, 1 kilo of a book.
My goodness. What are you looking forward to in May?
There's the Horror May thing.
Horror Mayhem? Yep.
Horror Mayhem.
Mhm.
May of the Moderns.
Yeah.
I haven't seen what else is on in May. I know we've got June on the Range later and Jane Austen July, and there's a lot of different.
There's a lot of great events to look forward to. That's for sure on BookTube. So for anyone that's starting out with a channel, thinking about a channel, has a young channel, what is the best piece of advice that you have learned from someone in the BookTube community?
If you haven't started, just start. Just put something out. It doesn't have to be perfect.
Yeah.
And most of us look back on our first videos and we cringe a bit at them, but it's a way of you learn, you develop from doing it.
Yeah, I agree.
Rather than just trying to get the perfect video, it's not going to work.
Right. And you have to be yourself too.
Yeah. And YouTube also allows like public, private, or unlisted. So if you're really nervous, you can keep it on private or unlisted first and then make it public. But put something out there and then put something else out there and just see what happens.
Definitely.
See what the response is. And if you're new, there won't be many people watching anyway. So it's you have to build up the connection, build up the followers, build up.
Yeah. Okay, so you kind of covered what advice did you learn, and then what advice would you give? So let's talk about the community aspect of BookTube. What are your thoughts on the BookTube community?
Yeah, another thing, when you've started your channel, connect with other booktubers by doing the readathons, doing some tags. You don't have to be tagged to do a tag. Right. If you see a tag you like, go ahead and do it, and then you can tag some other booktubers and connect with them. It's there's a lot of community here, and you'll find people that like the same type of books as you, or you'll find people whose personality you like, even if you don't like the type of books they read.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, most of us say that what we like about this is the community. There's lots of great bookish people on here that have lots of different views on books, and you can share your views, you can hear their views and interact.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Let's hit on your tags. You create some phenomenal tags. You've been known to create some incredible tags. The tags focusing on various cities around the world, the numbers tag, the alphabet tag. So tell us a little bit about what motivates you, what inspires you to create an incredible tag.
I've seen a lot of other people create tags. The first tag I created was an A to J tag, having a prompt with each letter from A through to J. And that went well, so I did some more. And then I did individual tags for each letter, the A tag, B tag, C tag, right through to YZ tag. And then after that, there's the numbers tag. And recently there's been the cities, London, Rome, and New York. No, London, Paris, and New York. And now I'm thinking about Rome or Istanbul or some other city for the next one.
Nice.
Maybe I can look for some suggestions, what cities somebody wants.
There you go. Perfect. So what are you reading today?
What am I reading today? I have about 6 books currently reading.
Oh, goodness. That's a lot.
Reading this one. This is The Bee King. This could be for Horror Mayhem. It's an arc by Matilda Zeller. It says it's horror fantasy about a world where the women, the daughters are like sold to the mainland to get money, and there's this one girl, Alice, that doesn't want this to happen, but then she finds herself betrothed to the Bee King on the mainland, and what's going to happen from there, I don't know yet. I'm 33% of the way in. It's very
Nice.
engaging. I'm also reading Blind Assassin. I've been reading this since January.
Uh-huh.
I like Margaret Atwood's writing, and it doesn't need to be rushed. I said Cryptonomicon I'm reading.
Mm-hmm.
I'm reading A Master of Jinn by R. Jelly Clark, which is a fantasy steampunk set in Cairo in 1912.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm reading at the moment.
Wonderful. What's your favorite genre?
I like many types of genres.
Mhm.
My comfort genres are police procedural and historical fiction.
Okay.
When I was a teenager, I read lots of science fiction, almost exclusively, and then that's branched into horror and fantasy as well.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm starting to read more fantasy. I didn't read fantasy for a time because I didn't want to commit myself to a series.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of fantasy, there's many books in a series. I prefer standalone books because I like reading different authors.
Yeah, I feel sometimes I feel pressure when there's a series. I don't know if I want to commit to a series. I'm non-committal.
Yeah.
I'm
Same.
recording. Let me see. Police procedural. This is with Michael K. Romeo's channel. Detective by Arthur Haley. This is going to be what I'm starting probably tomorrow. So it's not too much of a chunk. It's about 400, but it should be good. And I usually don't do police procedural books or anything like that, but I'm going outside my comfort zone because it's Michael's little event.
I think police procedural is a comfort for me.
Yeah.
My parents used to watch a lot of them on the TV when I was growing up. And they have a strong plot to follow.
Yes.
With literary fiction, it sometimes goes off and you think, what's all this about? But with the police procedural, there's a very linear plot usually to follow.
Yes. There's like almost a standard format, right?
Hmm.
So what else? Is there anything else that you want to promote? Anything else that you want to talk about?
I'm free to talk about anything, what people...
Okay.
Here to answer any questions, to interact with.
I'm going to shut my window because some neighbor just put on their lawnmower. So 1 second. Okay. It's actually my next door neighbor. All right. So if anybody in the chat, let's say hello to the people in the chat and let's see what they're all talking about. And then if anyone has questions for Jim, now's the time to ask. Let's see. Oh, we have William showed up. Hi, William. How are you? Al says, nice to see MJ's on Cleon Books. I highly recommend the audiobook for this trinity of books. If you love the books, the audio adds to the insight. Hello, everyone. Peter the Book Lover. Some books will be hard to cover in a minute. Yeah, I would have to agree with that. That takes finesse. That is definite finesse. William said, I've read a book with 2,087 pages. Whoa, and everybody's like, 2,087 pages. But to be fair, there were 10 blank and title pages between parts. And people are asking what book it was. Al says, my largest book is 2,280 pages, but a large index and glossary. It is a scholarship of a Zen monk, Z Yi, but wow, it was scary at first. William said, the book I'm talking about is the Urantia book. It's featured in one of my shorts in my first video. Matthew says, I got a book with 800, 900 pages, and I think that is almost too big. A 2,000-page book would probably kill me. Al says, I used to read 1 or 2 books at a time until booktube. Now I have a gaggle of open reads. Yeah, that's a problem. Polyreader. You become a polyreader. William says, as a slow reader, it took me 1 year, 3 months, and 13 days to read it. I started January 19 and finished it April 20th. Wow. SD Hudson, hi, made friends with the like button. Hey, thank you. Yeah, please hit the like button. Peter, the book lover, has anyone read Mary Poppins? I finished it yesterday and it was a good children's book. No. SD says, sorry, I missed the beginning of this. That's okay because you can always catch up on the replay. I'm not sure where all the comments are. You might just have to scroll back. You should see them in the feed somewhere, but we don't have the YouTube format. We have the StreamYard format. So. Hey, there's my friend Coda. Hi, Coda. Good to see you. Good morning. Good morning. All right. So does anybody have any booktube questions? Questions for Jim? Jim's how did this start, Jim? Jim's books, reading, and stuff. Did you start that?
Yeah, I don't know why I started as books, reading, and stuff. And then I fitted it in with the text on the editing list.
Okay.
And it's other people seem to catch on to it when they tag me or something. They say books, reading, and stuff. So it's like part of my brand, I guess.
Okay. So ST, yes. This live is streaming on my YouTube channel, and then it's going out to all of Jim's subscribers too. So that probably is why you can't see the comments. Okay. Yeah, so that's the answer to that. Okay. Jim, what was the book that you were holding up?
This is my mammoth. This was Cryptonomicon.
And that's Neil Stevenson?
That's Neil Stevenson. It weighs over 1 kilogram.
Oh my goodness!
Which is 2.2 pounds in American. it's heavy.
Yeah.
This one is 918 pages.
Wow. What is it about?
It's about cracking codes. It's part historical fiction, part science fiction. It's about crypto money as well, and it's about the Enigma code, breaking the Enigma code in the Second World War. But I haven't read very much of it. This is my mammoth.
Okay. Oh, I love the bookmark. He's so cute.
It's not the bookmark. It's just a mammoth.
Oh, you just have the mammoth next to it. Perfect.
Yeah, my mammoth with my mammoth.
Wonderful. So how far into it are you?
I'm about 30 pages in.
Okay. Do you like it so far?
I like it so far, but I keep reading shorter books because they're less daunting than this.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We have a question from Christopher Evenstar. What is a Georgian author that you admire?
Nodo Dombadze. This one. Nodo Dombadze. This is Granny Iliko Ilarian and I. He wrote... this is a humor book set in Guria in the 1940s during the war, and it's amusing, and it's about village life. It's very good.
Okay.
A lot of people like Nino Haratashvili, who wrote The Eighth Life. I haven't read that yet, but it was on the long list for the International Booker 3 years ago. Yes, those ones I'd recommend. This is one I would not recommend. This is terrible. Ia Kagratelli.
Okay.
It's romance, which is not my jam, but there's so many mistakes in it. It's translated into English, and I've just started reading this one as well, Iggy, by Jamal Khashoggi. This is a novella. It's quite short, and I started it. I found it yesterday. I bought it yesterday.
Okay.
And it looks good so far. It's about a Stone Age tribe, and one of the guys is called Iggy in this Stone Age tribe, and he's trying to work out how his world works.
Oh, okay. Wonderful. That sounds interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Al asked a question. Reading in non-native tongue, advice.
I don't read it. I'm reading Georgian in English translation.
Okay.
I read French books, and the first few books, it took a long time using dictionary, Google Translate to understand what I was reading. But after a while, it gets better. And again, with the crime books, if you read crime, I read Agatha Christie in French, so that there's a strong plot. So it's easy to follow the story. You want to follow the story, so you got the motivation to follow the story.
Okay.
Reading some of the more philosophical books in another language is very difficult.
Okay. Al says, this is why I ask. I find reading a translation makes it difficult as you wonder what the author meant versus what the translators wrote.
Yes. There's problems translating from one language to another.
Yeah.
Camus in The Stranger, the first line, Aujourd'hui maman est mort, ou peut-être hier, je ne sais pas. How we translate maman, yesterday mother died, or maybe how we translate maman into English affects how we see the character of Meursault. Whether we translate it as mother, which seems too formal, or mummy, which seems too babyish, or whether we just leave maman in, like in the French. Because
yeah, it all comes down to those little intricacies, right, for translating the meaning.
Yes.
Okay. Peter the Book Lover asks, do you have the copy of Breakfast at Tiffany's with 3 short stories? I have that. If so, have you read the 3 extra stories? Yes, I have. And I liked the Christmas story the best. I hope that answers your question. All right. What other questions do we have for Jim? We have a whole chunk of time left. We have a whole half hour. We got through our questions really fast. Al says, go ahead.
Yeah. My most viewed video on BookTube was my video about Georgian literature and English translation. I think that's my niche. If anybody's looking for that, they can find my channel.
Yeah.
And it also has a lot of local interest because Georgians might be interested in seeing what's being translated into English.
Wonderful. Let's see. Al says, Camus is a great example. I was thinking of the myth of Sisyphus, LOL.
Yeah, pushing that rock up the hill.
Yes. Read by Fred. I agree about problems with book translations. I'm reading a nonfiction translated from Spanish to English, and there are instances where you see the translation go wrong. Coda says, Peter, MJ and I read it together. Yes, we did. We buddy read Truman Capote. Peter says, I love Diamond Guitar. That was probably my next favorite. Let's see. Al, I meant the poor translations that confused the meaning. Yes, we knew what you meant.
Yeah, they said with Constance Garnett, who translated a lot of the Russian literature into English, that she made Tolstoy sound the same as Dostoevsky. And in Russian, they sound very different. The voices are very different. But when translated, it sounded like Constance Garnett translating them to make them sound the same. And she also had a lot of Victorian sensibility. So she would be censoring lots of things that they said in these books.
Oh, that's interesting. That's fascinating. Have you done a video on that?
I did a video about a review of Anna Karenina.
You should do one about the translation. That's interesting. I love little things like that, like little snippets. Let's see. Alan is here. He says, good morning. Good morning, Alan. Jess is here. She says,
Hi,
good
Alan.
morning. Good morning, Jess. Al says, Nietzsche is the same. All the English sounds the same. The French is closer to the German. Alan says he's reading the Briggs translation of War and Peace currently. Wonderful. I'm still reading The Name of the Rose. I'm like 65% in. It's a little bit of a slog for me though. But I'm sticking with it. I'm not DNFing it. I'm sticking with it.
I like the labyrinth in the library in that book.
Yes. There's little passages that make me want to keep going, which I'm very thankful for. It's very wordy. All right. What other questions do we have? Do we what? Do we know the name yet, MJ? The name of what? Do I know the name yet of what? No, I don't. No, I don't think I do. The Name of the Rose is excellent. It's okay. It's okay. Fred asks, Jim, have you been to the Black Sea? What's it like?
I've been to the Black Sea many times. It's 300 kilometers away from here, or about 160, 170 miles. I prefer the Mediterranean. The Black Sea here in Georgia is a bit polluted, but it's nice to see the sea. I miss the sea. I come from Britain, which is a big island where the sea is never far away.
Mm-hmm. How long have you been in Georgia?
It'll be 14 years in September.
Wow. Wonderful.
I came here for 3 days as a tourist, and I was invited to a Georgian wedding. At the wedding, I met Hatuna. Hatuna spoke English, and she was explaining to me what was happening because I didn't understand Georgian.
Mm-hmm.
And we got on very well. And I went back to England, and we stayed in touch. And then I came back to Georgia, and we got married.
Oh, that's such a great story. I love that. Now, have you gone back to England at all?
I haven't been back to England since 2016 now.
Okay.
When they voted for Brexit, because that kind of alienated me from my roots.
Yeah, I get that. Okay, let's see. Al says, I know of watch and pen groups that do a giant get together. It helps introduce new channels and is great fun for the audience. Thoughts? Watch and pen groups. I mean, like wristwatch and fountain pens? Is that what you're talking about? Can you expand on that, Al? Peter the Book Lover says, I started Jane Eyre today. Has anyone read this classic yet? Jim, you have all your books so handy. You've got two copies.
Yeah, this is the English. I got the English copy and the Georgian copy. This is the Georgian copy of Jane Eyre.
Okay.
So this is the English one.
Beautiful.
Yeah, for one of my booktube videos, I set myself the challenge, can I read Jane Eyre in one day?
Mm-hmm.
And I did it like a vlog, but I managed to read 600 of the 800 pages. I failed.
Wow. What time did you start?
I started quite early, but...
Yeah, 600 pages is a lot for one day.
Yeah. But I finished it a couple of days later. So.
Wonderful.
It's an interesting read.
Okay, so Al says a live get-together with many guests. We can do something like that, but we would have to work it out with times because of people's location. But yeah, we could do something like that. As long as people want to participate. Let's see. William says, is Stalin's birthplace in Georgia marked?
Yes. They have, his house is preserved. There's a museum. It's in Gori, which is about 80 kilometers from Tbilisi. If anyone's interested in Stalin, this is a very good book about Stalin before he became the leader of the Soviet Union by Simon Sebag Montefiore, young Stalin. Mm-hmm. I did read the later one, Stalin, The Court of the Red Tsar, which was a mammoth because that was 850 pages, but I think this one's more interesting.
Okay.
Stalin is the most famous Georgian in the world, but some people wish he wasn't because Stalin was a monster.
Yeah.
And this book and the later one shows how he became that monster because of his difficult childhood and his first wife dying very young, and how the Bolsheviks became very ruthless and very
Read by Fred says, my goodness, wonderful story, Jim. May I ask how long it took you to learn the Georgian language?
I still haven't learned that. I'm still learning the Georgian language. It's still a long process.
Is it easier for you to read it or speak it? Or listen?
Both are difficult because Georgian has its own alphabet. It doesn't have the same alphabet. And so this is like Jane Eyre again. The letters are very different.
Yeah.
It's a unique alphabet and unique to Georgia.
Okay.
So when I'm reading, it's like being a child again, reading each letter. I can't just see the word and know what the word is.
Okay. So it's really about the process of learning.
Yeah.
So still, after 14 years, you're still learning.
I'm still learning. I'm living with a Georgian family. It's embarrassing. When I went to France, after 2 years, I could speak French because English and French are a lot closer.
Mhm.
We have a lot of words from French and English because of the history of the language.
Yeah.
I don't know a lot of English speakers who can speak Georgian. There are a few, I've met them, but there's not many.
Yeah. That's fascinating. Al suggests a giant booktube live stream, many channels together. Maybe,
Wow.
maybe. We'll see. Maybe we'll do something for Horror Mayhem or something like that. We'll see. Coda says 600 pages in one day is a lot. Yeah. 1 hour. Yeah, 1 hour per 100 pages, they say. That's Steve Donahue's rate. That's not my rate.
Well,
I'm
Steve
like,
Donahue's is
yeah, I'm like
a phenomenon.
if I get 50 pages in an hour, I'm good, you know? Peter the Book Lover, that would be a hard read in one day. I'm going to try to read it in 3 days myself. Good. Al says there's a sumo wrestler that should be the most famous Georgian. Tucky Notion?
Yeah. In sports, Georgians are very good in the strength sports.
Okay.
They get the medals in the weightlifting, the boxing, judo,
Mm-hmm.
and they've got this sumo wrestler as well, and they're good in rugby. In strength sports, they're very good, but other sports, they're not so good.
Okay. Hey, they know their strengths and their weaknesses, right?
Yeah. Although the women are very good in chess.
Oh, that's
They've had
interesting.
some world chess champions for the women, but
Okay. Do you
for the
play
men,
chess?
it's the strength stuff. I play chess, but not good, not well.
Yeah, no. I tried to learn a couple years ago. I just never got the hang of it. Too cerebral for me. Peter says my average is about 150 pages a day. Coda says for me it depends on the writing. Also, don't and margin size, font and margin size. Yeah. Steve LOLs. Donahue reads 150 pages an hour. Yeah, it's pretty close. I mean, that's what he does for a living. My page rate is about 1 page per minute, 60 an hour. Yeah. Have you read The Secret Garden? Can you speak Yorkshire?
I haven't read The Secret Garden.
Mm-hmm.
My father was from Yorkshire, was born in Yorkshire, but it's not a language. There's a slight dialect.
Yeah.
But I was born in London, and when in the summer we used to go to my grandparents in Yorkshire, my Yorkshire family, my mother said I'd be there open mouth because I didn't understand what they were saying because it was very strong dialect.
Yeah. Do you find that your accent has changed from being in Georgia for so long?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Not just being from in Georgia teaching English.
Mm-hmm.
I have a London accent, but it's quite a weak London accent now because if it was a strong London accent, my students wouldn't understand me.
Yeah. You have a very when I first met you and I first started watching your channel, you have a very Euro. It's just a Euro vibe. Like I'm not sure where he's from. Not sure.
Yeah, I was born in London, but I've lived more years in Tbilisi than I did in London. So.
Mm-hmm. Randy L. Ray, the literate Texan, says I read between 50 and 100 pages an hour, depending on what I'm reading. Yeah, it really does depend. It depends on the book size and pages and all of that. There's a lot of factors that get involved in that. Jim, what type of you said for your videos you use your tablet?
Yeah.
Okay.
This one.
How did you find when you first started making videos, like with editing and all of those thumbnails and all that kind of stuff? How long did it take for you to learn it, to get a hold of it, to really kind of master it? Because your thumbnails are really good.
Yeah, when I started, it was a steep learning curve for editing and thumbnails. But for the thumbnails, I use a program GIMP, G-I-M-P. It's like Photoshop, but it's free. I like free programs. And the editing as well, it's a free program. It's HitFilm Express is a free editing software I use.
Okay.
I did start using it with a different one, GOM Pro or something, which was also free, but it left a watermark, and I didn't like that. So HitFilm Express doesn't leave a watermark, so that's
okay. Wonderful.
But I'm still learning, and now I'm using the AI as well to create images.
Yes. Tell us a little bit more about that. That's wonderful that you touched on that. Your community tab, you always post interesting things regarding book titles using AI generated images. How did you get interested in that?
I just saw something about Midjourney, and now I've subscribed to Midjourney. The three main AI picture generators is DALL-E, Midjourney, and Stable Diffusion. I'm using Midjourney just because it was the first one I tried. I don't know if it's the best. But yeah, I just put a book title in, imagine, and then the book title, and the picture comes up.
Mm-hmm.
And if I like the picture, I'll save it and I'll put it on my community tab to see if people can guess what's this book. Sometimes they're very obvious, like Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings. It's just got but sometimes it's a lot more cryptic. The last one I think was Drive Your Plow Over the Bones of the Dead, and it had this skeleton driving this farm vehicle.
I wasn't able to figure it out for sure.
Yeah, somebody did guess that eventually.
Nice.
So.
Good. So are you going to keep using AI? Do you think AI is going to have a bigger platform in the future?
I think we're going to get a lot of YouTube videos created by AI because they're talking about prompt to video generation now.
Wow, that's crazy. We might be out of jobs.
Maybe.
No,
well, this is not our job. This is our hobby. So.
It's a hobby. I call it. I put so much love and devotion into it that I treat it like a job. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, this whole AI revolution, it's going to be like, I think photography was to like the painting.
Yeah.
The impact that photography had on painting was very dramatic. Mm-hmm. And after photography, painting went to all sorts of other places where it couldn't be figurative because the photo could take the image. So the artists did new things like cubism, surrealism, expressionism.
Right. And now... And now with computer generated everything, instead of photography, my father used to develop his own film in the basement with a red light, you know. Yeah. Now you don't have to even have a camera. You just need your phone with the lens on it. It's crazy. It's amazing.
AI, you just say imagine this and it'll create it for you.
Yeah.
you don't even need any
correct. It's fascinating and scary at the same time.
Yes. I think for a lot of people, their jobs are going to be on the line. Accountants, maybe.
Yeah.
The AI will be able to do the taxes now for them, which will put a lot of accountants out of business. I don't know, but there'll be new jobs as well. But whether there'll be enough new jobs to replace the old jobs, I don't know.
Yeah, we'll only see. As long as we
interesting times.
Yes, it is. Let's see. Peter asked, okay, we did that one. Al said, I grew up with family in Ireland, Nottinghamshire, and France. Accents are my bag. In the bank, I was a go-to person for hard to understand peeps. Peter said in The Secret Garden, they talk about the Yorkshire way of speaking. Al said, like Joyce or Faulkner, I believe the Yorkie is more a style and manner of speech than a language per se. Gimshop is a version to function similar to Photoshop. Okay. Nettie is a brand new booktuber, everyone. She just started her channel this week. If you can, give her a peek, a like, and a subscribe. So far, her content is spot on, and she is a wonderful person. She says, hello, Jim. Hi, MJ. Sorry, a bit late to this. Just finished work. Question for Jim. I see you have a copy of The Night Circus up on your shelf. Did you enjoy it?
This is on my TBR. I haven't read it yet.
Oh.
I got this at the Tbilisi book swap. We meet, let's say, once a month to swap books. I got this 2 months ago. I want to read this. There's also the hotel in here. It's the same hotel as the one in Murder on the Orient Express by Agatha Christie. So that's another reason to read it. And Abby Salter on her channel, she really likes this. But she says it's not for everyone. But
no, it's not.
So, but when it appeared at the book swap, I snapped it up, and it's on my TBR for this month.
Wonderful. I look forward to your review. Don't watch my review.
Thank you for the question, Nettie.
Yeah. Let's see. Al says, fantastic idea. I would try it with some pithy quotes. I guess with AI. AI pictures with quotes. William said, I would like to see what image the book title The Second Sleep would produce. Peter says, I can see a problem with AI. If you ask questions with the mic, they miss or hear you a lot, and you get different results than you ask for. Yeah, I've only typed to AI. I've never spoken it. They'd probably be like, what are you talking about to me?
Yeah.
Al says, AI will add to our expression and perspective. AI imagination will always pale in comparison to our own. I pray you're right, Al. I pray you are right. Nettie says, what about the idea of severance where you sever your brain from your work life and home life? Amazing show, by the way. It makes you think. I've never seen it. Is that what the premise is? Have you ever seen it?
Severance.
Severance? Yeah. Al says, hello, Nettie New. Night Circus was good. Read by Fred says, welcome to BookTube, Nettie. Young and Hemingway both used a version of the severance you speak of. Young called it active imagination. Hemingway read Pulp Fiction to feed his own creative well. Alan said, I adored The Night Circus. Nettie said, ooh, I hope you like it. I thought it was a terrific read. It is one of those that it's best read when you know nothing about it. That came out of NaNoWriMo. Did you know that?
The Night Circus?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if the whole book came out of NaNoWriMo, but at least the outline of it did. Yep. Someone told me that last year. Coda says to Nettie, that show is interesting. I need to finish it. I've only seen a couple episodes. I haven't seen it at all. Peter says, I use the mic button a lot to make sure I pronounce words correctly. Okay. Wonderful. What other questions do we have for Jim? We still have some time left. Oh, Nettie says, hello, everyone. Thank you. I love BookTube. Well, we're glad you're here, Nettie.
Has anyone read any Georgian literature? Any Georgian writers?
I have not. I have not. That is way outside of my comfort zone. But maybe I will based on your recommendations.
Yeah.
How long have you had your bookshelves now, Jim? I remember when you first got them installed.
Yeah, I think it was January of 2022. They were installed by my brother-in-law.
Yeah.
And they're starting to fill up.
Yeah.
With books and other things.
It's a big difference. It's wonderful.
Got lots of 1-minute timers here.
Perfect. Perfect. How about your collection? Is it just mini cars? Is it Hot Wheels? Is it a specific thing that you collect?
Matchbox are the
Matchbox.
brand I prefer to collect, but I have a lot of Hot Wheels, all sorts.
How did that start? Have you been a fan since you were a kid?
I was a fan when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And then when I was about 13, I got into music and started collecting records and listening to records and spending my money on records.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I moved to Georgia, I think it was a nostalgia thing. I started picking up a few little cars, and then it started growing. And now I've got maybe too many little cars.
How many do you think you have?
I have 1,400.
Whoa, that's a lot. Wow, that's awesome.
I have some other shelves on the other side of the room for the cars, although some do creep onto the bookshelves.
Yeah. And we have a lot of the same music taste.
There's some overlap, certainly.
Yeah, definitely.
You like David Bowie, so that's fun.
Yes, it's a lot of early 80s alternative post-punk, Susie and the Banshees, all that.
Susie and the Banshees, I've seen Susie and the Banshees 10 times.
I know.
I have a list of all the bands I went to see. Is that?
Wait, you keep a list of all the bands you've seen?
All the bands I've seen, all the books I've read.
I love that. That's wonderful.
I didn't see Duran Duran though, not live.
No, they're gonna be in the UK next week. They're playing the O2.
Yeah, we're getting the Killers and Imagine Dragons here in Georgia, which is
I saw Imagine Dragons last summer. I wasn't a fan. I left a fan. Really, really,
Huh?
really good. If you get a chance to go, go. Really good show. Very
Yeah.
family oriented, very uplifting, just good, positive energy. Really good. All right, let's see. Read by Fred. Ugh, AI. I'm worried we're gonna see Skynet come to artificial life. I know. I think about that too. Let's see. Coda Tenetti. That show is. Oh, we saw that one. Okay. Did that one. Did that one. A book you go back to often, or one that changed your perspective entirely. What book do you go back to a lot, or has changed your perspective?
I don't go back much. I started rereading.
Mhm.
The Blind Assassin, this is a reread.
Okay.
But at the moment, I'm rereading about one book a year. Last year it was East of Eden. The year before it was The Great Gatsby. And this year, Blind Assassin. So I
Okay.
don't do a lot of rereading because there's so many books I haven't read that I want to read.
Yeah. I'm reading East
But,
of Eden this July, I think. Summer of Steinbeck. Yeah. Peter the Book Lover. What is a book Jim recommends, and what is a book MJ recommends? For just in general, or
I think it depends what you like.
yeah. I have recommendations for almost every genre, but not every genre. I'm still not a historical fiction girl. I'm just not. One of my favorite books.
This book I recommend, The Blind Assassin. I think it's really well written, but it's not for everybody. It's literary
Yeah.
fiction with an element of science fiction in, and it won the Booker Prize in 2002.
I still talk to people about Charlie McKessie, The Boy, the Horse, the Fox, and the Mole. It's a children's book, but the themes are translate to everyone. And the audiobook is simply just a grounding meditation. It will bring you back to what is real in this world. And it just makes you feel connected. It makes you feel grounded.
You're not into historical fiction, but you might like this.
I have that downstairs. I have that in my
really
downstairs.
good. It's a bit like Oliver Twist, but from a female protagonist.
Yeah.
And it's much better than Oliver Twist. I'm reading Charles Dickens novels, and Oliver Twist is my least favorite of those, but I really like this.
Okay.
And you've got it. So
yeah, I have it downstairs. It's one of those where it's sitting on my shelf, literally right next to Orlando. It's one of those books I get from the library sale, and it just hangs out there until I'm ready to read it. William asks, have you read any Armenian or Azeri authors?
Not intentionally. I did read Goodnight, Mr. Tom by Marjorie. I can't think of her surname, but she was born in England, but her ancestry is Armenian. She's Armenian family. So.
Okay.
But it was only afterwards that someone pointed out that she was Armenian. I didn't realize when I was reading it. I was just reading Goodnight, Mr. Tom, and it's a really good book.
Good.
And Azeri, no, from the former Soviet Union, I've read writers from Russia and Ukraine and from Georgia, but nothing really from Armenia or Azerbaijan or Turkmenistan, Kyrgyzstan, or any of these other.
Okay, Coda asked a great follow-up question. Which Georgian author / book would you recommend reading first in English translation? So for somebody wanting to read a Georgian author or a Georgian book.
I think a lot of people on BookTube liked The Eighth Life by Nino Haratashvili, but it's a mammoth of a book. It's about 800 pages long. Mm-hmm. This one, this was translated in the Soviet times into English, and it's not readily available. If this was available in English, I'd recommend this more. Nodo Dumbadze, Granny Iliko, Ilarian, and I. But hopefully someone will translate this into English. And the one I'm reading at the moment, Iggy, if that's good, I'll recommend that, but I don't know.
Okay.
It's a good question.
Alan likes your car collection, Jim.
Yeah, I like it too, Alan.
Peter
Favorite
asked,
Batmobile?
Peter asked, do you have the Batmobile? I bet he has more than one.
I do indeed have more than one.
Right.
This one's like a silver version of the classic TV series Batmobile.
Yeah.
This one's like from the Tim Burton film.
Yes.
And this one's from the cartoon film of Batman.
Nice.
I have some other Batmobiles as well, but I do have Batmobiles.
Okay, so I take it, are you a DC person over a Marvel person?
I'm not really into either DC or Marvel, but I loved the film of Guardians of the Galaxy. I thought that was great.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't read
No preference?
comics. I don't read a lot of comics or graphic novels. It's not part of my childhood.
Okay.
So
let's see.
Are you a DC or a Marvel person?
I've always been DC. I will stand on this hill and die a DC person. And that's because of how I grew up. It was Batman, Wonder Woman, Superman. Like that was it. Book Blather says that's a lot of cars.
It is a lot of cars.
Nettie says, Jim, I do the same. I've seen Susie too. I've never seen Duran Duran.
I've seen Susie many times, but I never saw Duran Duran.
I heard this past week that Susie, I don't know if she played Coachella, but she played somewhere. She's coming back. She's coming back to live performance. And I was like over the moon. Peter asked, did you ever see Black Sabbath?
No, I saw Deep Purple played in Georgia. That was the last major band I saw was Deep Purple here.
Wow.
A bit old now, but I saw in England, I saw Iron Maiden and Motorhead.
Nice.
And Saxon from the heavy ones. But I never saw Black Sabbath or Led Zeppelin.
Yeah,
but of Black Sabbath, Led Zeppelin, and Deep Purple were my favorites.
Nice.
And I got to see them, even though they weren't with Richie Blackmore, who was the guitarist in the 70s.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Nettie says, and post-punk Adamant, who did Dirk wear white socks and was absolutely incredible. Small venue in Brighton called Concord. I'm at gigs most weeks, LOL. Peter says East of Eden is awesome. Yeah. Book Blather, Great Gatsby is one of the very few books I've reread.
Yeah. Great Gatsby was the first book on BookTube I reread.
Nice. Al asks, I wonder how many reread versus do not. I often reread immediately, and I have many I return to yearly. I reread often. I probably reread at least, I'd say 2 to 3 times a year. Probably. Al says, as a Canadian, I will refrain from opinions on Atwood. I kid, but not really. Everybody has opinions, Al. It's okay. MJ, I cannot read The Giving Tree without tears. Jess says, I am not a fan of historical fiction either. Peter says, I would recommend Alice in Wonderland. It is a book for everyone. That is one of my favorites. Nettie knew. Ooh, I have The Fingersmith. Al says, A Movable Feast is one I have read so many times. I've just finished a 29-hour book of his letters and notes and correspondence in his early years in Europe. Peter says, Marvel all the way for him. Nettie says, DC for her too. Hello, Margaret. How are you? Al says, Dark Horse Comics for a Dark Horse taste. I respect Dark Horse Comics. Susie is touring again. Yes. DC only because Batman villains are the best. They are. Nettie says she lost her hearing at a Motorhead gig. I believe it. Al says, I enjoy indie comics growing up. Jess asks, has anyone read The Tea Planter's Wife by Dinah Jeffries? I'm going to read it today. No, I've never read that. I've never heard of it. Peter, I love Highway Star by Deep Purple. Margaret says, I've heard of it, but haven't read, Jess. Coda says, the granny book you keep holding up is over $1,300 on Amazon. Jim.
There's this one.
$1,300. That's crazy.
Yeah. You can get it for 40. You can get it for 40 Larry here, which is about $15.
Wow. That's crazy.
I think people put books on Amazon just with very great hopes that someone is going to buy it.
Yeah.
So don't get this one. Don't spend $1,300 on this.
No.
You can come to Tbilisi and get it cheaper.
There you go. Margaret said, I reread in John's to clear out old books, probably average one per month. Jim says, hi, Margaret. Al, the Atwood joke is a Canadian thing. She's not as popular up here, but the reason we say so is so many other authors are missed. Book arbitrage, Jim. Wonderful. It's so great having everyone here. Coda says he will wait for the English translation.
This is the English translation.
That is the English translation. It's just hard to find.
If you get it in Georgian, you can get it in Georgian for 15 Larry, which is about $5, $6.
There you go.
But,
wonderful.
Yeah, it's the one in translation. I mean, it's crazy amount they're asking for it.
Fantastic. Well, does anyone else have any other questions while we're getting ready to wrap up? Let's see. Peter asked, does anyone have a favorite H.G. Wells book?
The Island of Dr.
Moreau. Nice. Yeah, that's good. I've never read it, but I know the premise.
He was very... In 4 years, he wrote The Time Machine, War of the Worlds, The Island of Dr. Moreau, and The Invisible Man, all in the space of just 4 years. These are
wow.
He wrote many other books, but in just from 1895 to 1898, he wrote his most famous books all in a very short time.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Let's see. When you said Georgian, I thought you meant Austin. LOL. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. That happens sometimes with translation. They have like Georgian architecture and they'll translate it into Georgian as being the architecture from Georgia, not the Georgian period in England.
Mm-hmm.
And we get lots of confusion with the two Georgias. How far are you from Atlanta? A long way from Atlanta here.
Yes, when I first started following your channel, I was like, geez, he's down in Georgia. Yeah, he's over in Georgia, not down in Georgia. Randy says The Time Machine. Coda says, I've only read The Invisible Man, but I loved it. Nadim says, I like The Time Machine. Nettie says, yes to Dr. Moreau and The War of the Worlds and The Invisible Man are my faves. I wasn't as keen on The Time Machine. Christopher said, I'm very impressed with how quickly you find your things, Jim, and you seem to be a collector of many things. A mind like a steel trap, I suppose. Peter says, I haven't read that. I like The Invisible Man so far. Al says,
my books.
Go ahead.
I can find my books quickly because I don't have a lot of books. I just have these shelves here, and they're starting to fill up now.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not like Greg with his masses of books in his basement.
I want to die in Greg's library. I'm a homebody now. I would be more of a homebody in his library. My goodness. It's beautiful. Let's see. I feel bad not having many questions, but for me, I enjoy other readers' perspectives and takes as often different as they often are different from mine. Absolutely. That's why we do this. Nettie says, I thought Dr. Moreau is quite disturbing.
It is quite disturbing.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the interests in it.
Mm-hmm. Williams Library, A Modern Utopia is on my wish list. Wonderful. All right, Jim. Well, I think we're gonna wrap it up. Oh, wait, there's more. Has anyone read Susanna Hoff's new novel, The Bird Has Flown? Is that Susanna Hoff's from the Bengals? I think she's an author now. I think so. No, I haven't read it.
No, I've listened to Eternal Flame and
Yeah, that was a big hit.
Manic Monday.
Yes, that was a big hit back in high school. Nettie says, "Me too. I want to faceplant Greg's library." Yes, Greg's library is pretty epic. The Time Machine was prophetic, thus very disturbing. Hot take. Jess says,
This is quite prophetic as well, with Dr. Moreau.
Yeah.
And what they're doing with genetics now.
Yes, I would agree. I would absolutely agree with that. Coda says, "Oh my God, the Bengals." When I was in high school, they used to tell me I looked like the bass player from the Bengals because my hair was more like maroon color. I used to get that a lot. The Bengals are a great band. Yes, they are. Oh. Manic Monday, written by Prince. Haha, blame him. Peter the Book Lover. I think The Time Machine is fantastic. William says, "I loved her cover of Different Drum." Wonderful. Great conversations today, everyone. Great questions. Jim, it's been awesome having you on.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, this is another one of the series. Let's see. Coda says Eternal Flame is my favorite song at 5 years old. Yeah, I was in high school, Coda. Prince was awesome. I do not mind saying Prince was fantastic. He's one of my top 3 favorite artists. And I got to see him. My husband got me tickets one year, and I actually got to see him in person, which was like awesome. It was so good.
I think Spellbound by Susie and the Banshees is my favorite song.
It's a good
one. But Life on Mars comes close by David Bowie.
Wonderful. All right. So Nettie says, oh, wait. I was a punk who loved jazz, so a weird taste is what I mean. Nettie says, "Lovely to meet you, Jim, heading to your channel." Peter says, "What's the best concert you've been to?"
Mine was Hawkwind.
Which one?
Hawkwind on the Chronicle of the Black Sword tour in 1985. It was just amazing. Wow. But Hawkwind weren't always amazing, but they were then.
Awesome.
Springsteen was really good as well, which was a surprise.
Springsteen?
Yeah. It's not the sort of music I usually listen to, but I saw him live and he was amazing live.
Wonderful. Nettie says, "Al, me too." Christopher says, "Thanks for the interview. Good luck on Cryptonomicon. Will you need 2 minutes to review it?" maybe a little more.
I'll need more than 2 minutes to read it, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Well, you'll get it done for sure. Let's see. Peter asked, "Did you ever see Rush?"
I've never seen Rush.
Book Blather. "Oh my God, Mickey Steele. I see it." Nettie knew Hawkwind. So much fun. They played here a lot. I don't know who Hawkwind is.
Lemmy from Motorhead came from Hawkwind.
Okay.
They were a psychedelic rock band that started in the 70s and continued.
Okay. Coda says, "Damn, it's been almost my whole life since your best concert. I hope the new ones get better." Nettie says, "We could chat all day about music and books. That is my life." Absolutely. Prague psychedelic band. Yeah, wonderful.
Space.
Yeah. One day, that's actually a good idea for a live, is booktubers getting together and not talking about books and talking about like music and concerts. That'd be fun. Mm-hmm. All right, everyone. Well, let's say goodbye for now. Thanks, everyone, for hanging out with us. Thank you for your questions. Mm-hmm. This will be made available later for viewing in case you missed it. And if you did miss this live, thank you so much for tuning in. Jess says, "Anyone into heavy metal music here?" Jess, I am a secret hair metal person. I think you know that. Book Blather says, "Have a great weekend." So Jim, once again, thanks so much for coming on. I hope you have a great rest of the evening. And I will see everyone in our next interview. So until next time, goodbye for now, everyone. Thanks. Have a great weekend.